What position should Cooper Flagg play this upcoming season for the Dallas Mavericks? We'll get into all that and more coming up next on the DLLS Mavs podcast. Hey, what's up, DLLS Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato, Mavericks analyst Bobby Carell. We, of course, are DLLS Mavs. Appreciate you joining us here on this Friday afternoon. Which position should Cooper Flagg play this upcoming season for the Dallas Mavericks? And what are some of your basketball convictions, as we'll discuss a lot on today's episode of the DLLS Mavs podcast on this fantastic Friday. Tim Cato, what's going on?
I am lovely. How are you, Kevin?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for asking.
You asked us so often how we are doing. And we don't really, we're kind of bad people.
I always ask Kevin
No,
how
you
he's
don't. Not once.
He does actually ask me how I'm doing
Every
when
day.
he does see me when I walk in.
Yeah, but not on the
we
show.
fist bump and what's up, man? How's it going? Literally
Okay, that
every
doesn't
day.
count. That's
We
what
check-
every human, you never ask on the show.
That's right. Well, Kevin, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for asking. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
By the way, happy early Father's Day to all the fathers out there this weekend with Father's Day on Sunday. Did you remember, Bobby? You good? You all set now? You good?
I remember again now.
Okay. So happy Father's Day to my father, Kevin Gray Sr. Happy
He's going to get
Father's
his
Day.
father the freshest collection of Pokemon cards you've ever seen.
That's right. That's right. Fresh Pokemon on deck. Bobby, how we feeling?
I'm feeling good. I was silenced for the last 2 days, but I brought my
Uh-oh.
tank cannon today. I'm ready to unleash on every single one of you in here, including Tanner.
Oh, wow. Tanner's
Oh,
got a
my.
mic, so you might want
I'm
to be
ready.
careful. He could talk today. But yes,
What about the Dirk head
I'm
behind
unleashed
you?
too.
that's right. You are unleashed. Tanner is unleashed for
Dirk
today's
is safe
show.
from all of my take wrath. I will never say a bad thing about that man.
We love Dirk. But yes, our guy Bobby Carell is back after being gone for the last couple of days. So happy to have him back on the show with us today as we, gentlemen, as of today, 12 days away from the NBA draft where the Mavericks are expected to take Duke sensation Cooper Flagg. The Mavericks announcing earlier today that they're going to be having a draft party on draft night with some very special guests, including Wings number 1 overall pick Paige Beckers, who's coming off a career-high 35 points. Wings Aces tonight, by the way, 9 o'clock, if you're going to be watching.
Y'all can all catch the replay of the Mavs draft party stream because on draft night, we know you're going to be spending it with us here on the DLS Sports YouTube channel.
That's right.
Was the Wings Aces time, was that a warning
What, for 9 o'clock?
to stay away?
No, you can watch the game as long as you're watching that. And, of course, game 4 of the NBA Finals is also tonight as well. And, by the way, Jordy says, my first MFFL Father's Day, hashtag girl dad.
Let's go.
I'm a girl dad as well. My little girl will be turning 8 at the end of the month. So happy Father's Day. Being a girl dad
Jordy,
is awesome.
Why would you pick this year of all years to become a Mavericks fan?
Wow.
Well,
Wow.
I think Jordy's saying probably
His
very
fandom
young
out.
daughter.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, that makes way more sense. I was a little confused. I just the idea of somebody becoming a Mavericks fan 1 year ago today, and then it's what sports
You're going
are
to be in
always
for a
like.
nice, long, good ride.
That's
and
right.
Now here we are.
That's
New
right.
father makes way more sense. I'm in the wrong here.
But gentlemen, we got to get into a very fun conversation today because our very own Mark Stein has reported that Denver Nuggets guard Russell Westbrook declined his option going into this upcoming season and is available to be a free agent this summer. And it's got Mavericks fans talking potentially about the idea of the Russell Westbrook experience potentially coming to Dallas. So let's just hop into our first conversation for today. Would you be in favor of the Russell Westbrook experience, Tim Cato, making its way to Dallas, Texas?
Westbrook has always been a maximalist player. You are getting everything and then a little bit more. What I thought he was so good at in Denver was really evolving into this just premier role player, a cutter, a slasher, a fast break guy, a hustle guy, a guy who makes winning plays. Also a guy who makes, unfortunately, not winning plays more and more often, just as naturally as he ages, as his athleticism that has fueled his career just isn't what it is. I don't think he's a fit on the Mavericks. I don't think he's really a fit at all. Dallas needs guards. They need ball handling. They need shot creation. And Westbrook is a guard, but he is not at this point a offensive creator consistently. He is not somebody who is going to break open a defense. He will maybe for a game or two, but when you look at Dallas's roster, when you look at the type of players they need, when you look at the shooting, just the idea that they need somebody who isn't just going to take some threes. Certainly Russell Westbrook at this point of his career, he's become a very reliable corner 3-point shooter, but Dallas needs a different type of guard than that. I just don't really see his fit. A lot of what he brings at this point is what you're going to get from Cooper Flagg, is what you're going to get from, Najee Marshall. And it's just not what is ideal for the makeup of the roster, of the Dallas roster at this point.
Well, Tim, you make a lot of very compelling and interesting points, and I respect your basketball intellect and the way that you approach the game, but I regret to inform you that everything you just said is wrong. Everything you said is wrong. Bring me Russell Westbrook, man. Come on. I've said this for a while now. 82 games is a lot of games. It's a lot of games. We need to make some of them just a little more interesting. And you want to know who's going to make the regular season a hell of a ride. It is Russell Westbrook, dude. The guy is like 98% a maniac and 2% normal, which is awesome. All right, introduce some chaos, make fast breaks fun, talk trash, just be completely unhinged like all the time. It's the best. And I think the last time he was on a team that didn't make the playoffs was like 2021, I think, or 2022 or something. It's been a while.
It was the Lakers season.
Okay. Yeah, and that was not his fault. That was not his fault.
It was not.
And otherwise, I believe every year of his career, ever since like his rookie or second year, he's been in the playoffs. The dude might not always make incredible plays in the playoffs. The Mavs had a lot of success against the Clippers whenever he was on the floor in that series in 2024. But I don't care. Russ is fun. Russ is cool. He dunks. Dunks are great. He's a big roar guy after making a play. I love that. He is a maniac. I think that's fantastic. And I'm just trying to envision how fun a lineup of Russ, Najee Marshall, and Daniel Gafford would be off the bench. Just think of the screams per 36. Throw Cooper Flagg in there, all right? And then give me...
Cooper's a screamer.
He is a screamer.
Yeah,
we
know this about him.
Pause.
The Mavs might not make a lot of noise in the standings, but they're going to make a lot of noise on the floor. And that's why I need Russell Westbrook on this team.
Russell Westbrook last year averaging over 13 points per game, nearly 5 rebounds, over 6 assists per contest while shooting nearly 45% from the field. He is going to be coming off of broken hand surgery going into next year. But at the same time, a player at 36 years of age, you thought that the content on this show was fantastic. Imagine a night where either Russell Westbrook goes off or does something stupid. And the reaction that you'll get from
it'll be both.
That's what I'm saying. I root for content on this show, and Russell Westbrook is full of content every single time he steps onto the floor.
On like a minorly more serious note, he does get in the lane, and dribble penetration is something that this team just like really
paint touches.
I guess the one thing that they did do well, even despite all the injuries and drama and all that stuff last season down the stretch, was get in the lane and make things happen. But he is one of the few players, if the Mavs sign him, which I don't even know if they're interested, but if he is on this team from opening night until Kyrie comes back, he would probably be their best and most consistent guy at getting into the lane and then making a pass. So many of these guys, like Najee Marshall, Max Christie, PJ, AD, all the bigs, so many of the guys on this team are battering rams. They get in the lane to score. They're not. It's like tunnel vision. It's me versus you. I'm going to try and lay this thing in or float it in, whatever. Russ would be able to break his man down and kick it out to someone, and that is valuable.
It's we've talked about this before. It's the idea that Najee and PJ and a lot of the Mavs players, they get to the rim, but they get to the rim with their player rather than eliminating their player, leaving that player behind them. if you can beat your player, that's when you make a defense panic. That's when you scare them. That's when you start to break them. You create seams. So in that sense, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there is something that undeniably Westbrook could bring to the team.
He's still got the first step. He doesn't instill like the fear of God into defenses anymore because he is 37 or whatever, But he does have that first step, and that is something. I also feel like both the Clippers, the 2024 Clippers, and this or last season's Nuggets, the 25 Nuggets, both very good teams, but both so stagnant on offense.
Mm-hmm.
The Mavs at least have a lot of guys that are going to drive and move a little bit and do some stuff. Like maybe Russ would be a little more effective in a system like that. Maybe.
And if you're trusting Jason Kidd with the superstars of Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving, obviously Russell Westbrook, a former league MVP, someone who's had a lot of success in the NBA. And if you trust Jason Kidd to get the most out of the players that he normally coaches on his team, you could find yourself in a situation where Russell Westbrook, even at this stage in his career, being a positive contributor to this team. And he would obviously respect Jason Kidd coming in as being a player playing for this franchise and knowing what kind of player Jason Kidd and coach that kid is. So there's some veteran elements to this as well. But what you're going to get from Russ every night, he's going to play hard, he's going to play with intensity, and he's going to give you a show in terms of your experience when you watch him play. And if you don't believe that the Mavericks are necessarily going to win a championship this year, I mean, the entertainment value of a Russell Westbrook is worth the price of admission to begin
it's
with.
Incredible. There will be dunks. There will be airball layups.
There will be a lot.
Everything in between. It's incredible. He is incredible. And again, 82 games. It's a lot of games.
And plus, when Kyrie comes back, too, he can go be off the bench. Like, he can be a valuable piece off the bench. I think that in a lot of ways, that's what the Denver Nuggets were able to utilize with him is you play him in bursts and in spurts, let him do the Russ thing, and then make sure that you get positive minutes out of Russ, because the negative minutes, I mean, on the flip side of it, the negative Russ minutes are really bad. They can be really, really bad.
I want to respond to Juan Martinez in the chat. Juan, loyal chatter. Juan is my guy. Bobby needs to be drug tested. You're right, and I would fail the drug test. I'm high on Russell Westbrook. Russ is my drug.
But why not? I mean, I think it would be kind of fun to have Russell Westbrook on the team.
I don't think he's a very good player, but he's interesting and fun and exciting.
He's
like,
that's the. But I don't know.
He's on the minimum. Like, come on.
And that's right. He's on the minimum. He played for $3.5 million this past season. I think he's still a minimum player. Someone had jumped in my mentions earlier and said, if Russ opted out of his contract, he isn't necessarily going to be going to get the minimum. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think he's still at this stage in his career a minimum player. I think it helps Denver's books if he does go back by opting out and then going back and helping out their books there from a salary perspective. But I don't think Russ is more than a minimum player contract-wise.
And it's important to stress that, because the only way that you would be getting – that the Mavs would be getting a player like Russ is if they are getting a point guard at the minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And one of your only other realistic veteran options at point guard for the minimum is a guy like Malcolm Brogdon, who is also not a very good player and is not fun or interesting or exciting at all. Like, that's – even whenever he was really good, he was just a very stable guy. At this point in his career, he's not explosive. At this point in his career, he's not breaking the defense down. He can shoot a little bit, but he can't do much else. He's just, injuries have taken their toll on him. So, if you're signing a guy for the minimum, beggars cannot be choosers. Okay?
Part of your pitch was him coming off the bench, and I just don't think there's room off the bench for him, and I don't think he's the starting replacement point guard for Kyrie. So
I agree.
That's where it starts and ends for me, is that there are just too many bodies. Now, if the Mavericks make some trades and this rotation has some minutes to spare and to go around, you can come back to me at that point. But right now, as things stand, there are just better players who deserve those minutes more and will be more effective with them than Russell Westbrook would be.
You do need a guy that can dribble and that can pass, though. I mean, even if he never plays, they have to go add someone like that. I would prefer them acquire someone via trade, get a good player to play guard. But if you are going to sign someone for the minimum, dude, come on.
Go full wild
Give it
ass
to
and
me.
go get Russell Westbrook.
Give it to me.
Have some fun, damn it. We're just having some fun here. By the way, Russell Westbrook will be 37 in November later on.
In his prime.
There you go. Let's take our first break here on the DLLS Mavs podcast. When we come back, what position should Cooper Flagg play for the Dallas Mavericks? We'll get into that and more coming up next on the DLLS Mavs podcast.
Just like your favorite team needs a home court advantage, your home needs a home floor advantage, and Empire Today can help you get it. Empire Today has flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals, focus on flooring every single day of their lives. They're not like the big box stores, which you go into, you wander around, you get lost, you wander around some more, you get lost again, you talk to somebody, he was probably doing lamps yesterday, he might be doing outdoor furniture tomorrow. And yeah, he can answer your questions about flooring, but is he an expert? Does he really know what he's talking about? Empire Today is your best bet because they live and breathe flooring, and they're going to be with you every step of the way. It's a whole different ball game. They're going to give you clear, upfront, and all-inclusive pricing. Plus, you can schedule installation as soon as the next day. So schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. DLS listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code DLLS. Yes, you heard that right, a $350 discount with code DLLS. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday.com/DLLS for full details.
So I see our friend Erica Day in the chat. And Erica, you'll remember that on yesterday's DLX Wings podcast, I was stuffing my face with a wonderful Strawberries Pop-Tart Frosty Fusion from Wendy's. That's right. Wendy's has a whole lot of new flavors. They still got their classic chocolate Frosty, their vanilla Frosty. I'm a fry dipper. All right, give me a chocolate Frosty and some fries. Call it an afternoon. But if you want to mix it up, they have Frosty Swirls in strawberry, brownie batter, and caramel. They all slap. And they also have Frosty Fusions, which come in Oreo brownie, caramel crunch, and my personal favorites, Pop-Tart strawberry. Not to mention that, yes, you can still get all those classic ones, too. Are you going to be a strawberry swirl girl, a caramel craze fanatic, a brownie batter buff, Pop-Tart strawberry freak with a sweet strawberry sauce and chunks of crazy good Pop-Tarts pieces? Whatever flavor you're craving, odds are we've got a Frosty for it. So clock in for a sweet treat anytime, including midnight or later, with Wendy's all-new Frosty flavors. Refresh on a classic, it's got to be Wendy's. At participating U.S. Wendy's, hours may vary by location.
What position should Cooper Flagg play for the Dallas Mavericks, and what are some of your basketball convictions? Start dropping those in the chat here on the DLLS Mavs podcast. Before we get there, let's get to a super chat that we've got already on this Friday afternoon, and that comes from Knight 405 with the $1.99 super chat as Oklahoma City gets ready to play Game 4 of the NBA Finals tonight against the Indiana Pacers. How many picks would you trade Cooper Flagg to OKC for?
I mean, OKC would trade all of their picks. I think, actually all of them.
Not doing it.
Yeah, none.
It's a big fat 0 for me.
Give me
it's a no for me, dog.
Give me Jalen Williams and all those picks, and we're talking.
Jalen Williams and all those picks.
All the picks and Jalen Williams.
That's all you need, Jalen Williams? You don't need Chet along with that? You don't need that's all you need? Okay. Well, let's get into Cooper Flagg. 12 days away, boys and girls, from the NBA draft on June 25th. We will have our very own live watch-along for the NBA draft on June 25th here on DLLS Mavs. So make sure you stay tuned for details for that in the coming days here. But gentlemen, we had Brian Damaris on with us yesterday, the Mavericks radio color analyst on the program. If you missed that, make sure you download the podcast wherever you get your podcast free. Just search DLLS Mavs. And we got into some Cooper Flagg talk yesterday. Bobby was not able to be on the show with us, but we know that Mr. Corella, our analyst here, has got thoughts when it comes to positional fit for Cooper Flagg. What does that look like here in Dallas?
Yeah, so we are, for the next half an hour, we're going to talk about things that make us mad about basketball. No, just kidding. We're going to talk about our deeply held basketball convictions, okay? And, J-Kid and yesterday Brian Damaris have talked about this, and some other people have mentioned it as well, but, J-Kid floating the idea that Cooper could play the 2 out there with name your guard, and then P.J. Washington, AD, and Derek Lively or Daniel Gafford or whatever. And I'm just some guy on the internet, so maybe it works and I look like an absolute fool, but I'm willing to put it out there. It doesn't sit well with my basketball spirit, and that spells doom to me. I'm spooked by that very notion because my number one most important basketball opinion, conviction, religious belief, things that you will never change, is that you need a lot of playmaking and a lot of shooting to win in the current era of the NBA with the current rule set. You can never have enough playmakers or shooters. You look in the finals every year, the teams that get there have 2 or 3 or 4 or even 5 guys that can all pass, dribble, and shoot. Last year, the Mavs failed to win the finals because the Celtics had 5 of them, and the Mavs for most of that series had 2 or sometimes even 1. You have to have floor spacing and threats with the ball. And if the Mavs are going to roll into a season with PJ at the 3, who is a reluctant three-point shooter on his best day and is not particularly good or efficient at shooting threes or dribbling and cannot pass, if you're going to go in there with AD, who takes way too many 18-footers from me, but is not a good three-point shooter. Look at his three-point shooting percentage over the last 5 years. It's very bad.
It's like 22%.
Yeah. And Gafford or Lively, who refuse to take threes, are not allowed to take threes, and frankly shouldn't take threes. None of those guys are quality playmakers. That is the recipe for disaster on offense. And then my other conviction is you can never have enough versatile, switchable defenders. And a lineup like that does not have a lot of versatility or switchability. It just really freaks me out. So I think that his best position is small forward next to either a power forward or 5 that can shoot, or a 4 next to a non-shooting 5. But I'm just some guy, and so I'm a little spooked by even the idea that he could play a single second at 2 guard ever in his entire career.
Yeah, clearly who the point guard is, who's playing 1 in lieu of Kyrie while he's out next season, does affect things a little bit. But I just worry. I think it would, if Cooper's playing the 2, if he's playing that lineup, that's going to slow the team down. You know, like one of the most important ways that you get up and down the court is that you have multiple ball handlers, you have multiple people you're comfortable getting the ball to. Cooper Flagg can handle the ball. Cooper Flagg is a plus passer. Cooper Flagg is not a point guard. Cooper Flagg is still someone who is going to give up the ball a lot in circumstances. You're going to cycle it into him, and he's going to look at a set defense, and he's not going to have a chance that possession to find the sliver or make progress on it. He is just not at, I think it's, maybe that comes in time. Maybe it does. But, if Dallas is going to be running out this few shooters, this few, this little 3-point threat, one of the ways that you get around that is you just get up and down you up the tempo, you get up and down the court faster. And, the bigger you play just inherently, the slower you're going to, be pulled into, defense and if you're playing big, and I said this on yesterday's show, if you're playing big, what mismatches you're going to have is you're going to have the tall guys being guarded by smaller guys. That inherently is a slow way to play basketball. It takes a second. It takes a while. Especially for a player like Anthony Davis, who I don't think is going to turn into Pascal Siakam overnight and just be, sprinting helter-skelter up and down the court, trying to go get those seals and get those mismatches. So the shooting's an issue, the creation's an issue, the tempo's an issue. I just don't think it plays well into Dallas's strengths.
Cooper Flagg has the ability to handle the basketball. I don't know if I necessarily want to put him in positions where he's handling a lot during his rookie year. I think his natural position would be a small forward. He can play at the 3, can play at the 4. Obviously, as he continues to improve as a shooter, there are opportunities for him to be at the 2 positionally when you start looking, at the versatility. But for him, I want him to be able to come in, be a defensive force, start to be able to continue to grow in terms of his offensive game. And then if there are opportunities for him to handle the ball, especially up and down in transition, where getting him downhill in transition would be a lot of fun to watch. And when he was at Duke, obviously there were opportunities for him to do some of those ball handling type of things. But where I thought he was most impressive, at least watching him, is when he is in the open floor, getting downhill and be able to get in transition and finish at the rim. And then obviously as a defensive force on the other end, really making an impact there. My hope is that he doesn't have to have a lot of ball handling responsibilities, but at the same time, he is more than capable of being a competent ball handler, which, to your point, Bobby, as well, PJ Washington wasn't necessarily great at that last year when they asked him to have more of a role in handling the basketball. So the more competent ball handlers you have, the better. And Cooper Flagg initially gives you the vibe that he can be a competent ball handler, which should give you a little more confidence in his abilities to handle something.
It's not just about ball handling, though. So we've talked about this too, like playmaking is not just, hey, bring the ball up the floor, and then now you're running your offensive set, and you're going to have the 2 come off the thingy, and you give them the ball, and then you move. Playmaking is go make a play. Like, make a play, whatever that means. Go create a shot for yourself. Go create a shot for someone else. Create an advantage somewhere. Get the ball from point A to point B, maybe via a couple other things. Like, you're doing something. You're bending the defense. You're breaking the defense. And let's look back at last year's Western Conference Final between the Mavs and the Wolves. Okay, the Mavs made Ant Edwards' life hell, and they did that because the Wolves, for a time, were playing Gobert out there, who's not that much of a shooter, and obviously, and so they were kind of sagging off him a little bit, applying a little extra pressure on Ant as he was breaking down his man in the lane and forcing Ant to make difficult passes, and he could not do that. The Mavs were also rotating such that if Ant's passes were not on time and on target, okay, then they were getting to the shooter in time to force the shooter to pump fake. So you have to be perfect making these passes. You're in the lane, going 100 miles an hour toward the rim, leaving your feet among the trees with your own teammate also in your way, and you have to make this wraparound pass at 50 miles an hour right in the pocket, otherwise the possession is doomed. That is the level of playmaking that I'm talking about. Sure, Cooper Flagg can bring the ball up the floor and pass to a guy that's open. Like, anyone in the NBA can do that. I'm talking about the really advanced, complex stuff that people like Kyrie and, of course, Luka and other players make look so easy. And they can do that 50, 100, 200 times a game because they're that good. They draw that much attention. Ant couldn't do that, and the Wolves lost as a result. He got a little better at this year, but then other guys didn't step up for them. They lost again to the Thunder in the playoffs this year. We're starting to see the Thunder struggle because Chet Holmgren can't attack closeouts. Miles Turner became Chet Holmgren's father in the fourth quarter of Game 3 because he just could not do anything with the ball in situations where he had to go make a play. And that kind of stuff takes time. Ant's been in the league now for 5 years and is getting better at it now, but isn't totally there. I do not expect 18-year-old, 19-year-old Cooper Flagg to have the answers to that sort of thing. And it's really important that he does, because the Mavs, as currently constructed, of course, free agency is still going to be a thing and they could make some moves or whatever, but as currently constructed, the Mavs do not have a plus shooting roster. They don't have a lot of guys on their team, especially without Kyrie, that are going to command much attention from three that the defense is going to be worried about. And so there's going to be even more traffic in the lane. There's going to be even more resistance that he faces if he wants to break his man down. He's going to draw the toughest defensive assignment every night because he will be maybe the most threatening offensive player. So his job every time down the floor is going to be very, very difficult. And until he develops these go-to moves or go-to reads or is able to figure out everything that's going on, I'm trying to create situations where you're making his job as easy as possible. Know. And right now, especially if you play him with that lineup, his job is going to be extremely difficult almost all the time.
Yeah, I was about to say this. This is where I was going to take this when, as soon as you completed your very good point.
I was kind of wandering in the wilderness there for a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
We got plenty of show left. For sure.
But I did want to bring up just the idea that Cooper Flagg, if he's coming into Dallas, like, you want to make his life easy at times. You want to make sure that he is set up for shots and looks. And, you want him to be the screener sometimes. If he's the two, if he's one of two ball handlers on the roster, if you've got Derek Lively, Anthony Davis, and PJ Washington, you're running out of just the ability for him to sometimes be the guy setting the screen, for him to be the guy rolling off of it, popping off of it. All of these actions are I think going to be great for Cooper. Like, he is somebody who can, set that screen, and he does have the versatility to do either thing. He can be a guy who is excellent as a cutter and a slasher. The more he has the ball in his hands, the less he's going to be able to do that, and the less you're going to be able to get him these confident, easy, just development type stuff, like these plays, these buckets.
Let's continue some of this conversation on the other side of the break. Plus, get into your basketball convictions. What are you most convicted about when it comes to basketball? We'll get into some of that coming up next year on the DLLS Mavs podcast. But it's game time here on the DLLS Mavs podcast. If you love going to basketball games, football games, concerts, sporting events, you got to use Game Time to get your tickets. With Game Time Picks, it filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. I've been using Game Time to get my tickets to go to Wings games this year. I put in my promo code DLLS, and I'm able to get the $20 off, and I'm able to take my wife and my daughter to have a good time at College Park to enjoy watching Paige Beckers play for the Dallas Wings. In fact, they've got all-in pricing, so you know exactly what you're going to pay before you get to checkout. They got panoramic seat views, so you know exactly where you're going to sit before you purchase your ticket, so you have the best experience possible. Take the guesswork out of buying your tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, Create an account and use code DLLS for $20 off on your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DLLS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it, gentlemen?
Game time?
Game time.
You know that moment, the one where you realize you left your favorite sunglasses at the beach.
Sun glizzies.
Sun glizzies, or at the glizzies station at the beach as well, on the roof of your car, or at a gas station 3 states away. Well, I've been there too. It's easy to do. Sometimes the sunglasses are on your they're on your nose, they're on your face, then they're not, and you're like, what happened to them? Often it's like, a patio beer. Oh my goodness, I can't talk either.
No.
So it's like a patio bar, and you show up and the sun's out, and you're wearing the sunglasses, and then it gets a little darker, and you take them off and you put them on the table. You end up, having a beer or two, and by the time you leave, you're like, what sunglasses? I didn't come with sunglasses. I didn't need sunglasses. It's dark outside. It's a very easy way to lose a pair of sunglasses. Now with Shady Rays. If you ever lose or break a pair of Shady Rays, even on day one, Shady Rays will send you brand new pairs. No guilt trips, just replacements. So now you can actually wear your sunglasses without fear on hikes, at concerts, or at patio bars. We've teamed up with Shady Rays to bring you an exclusive offer. Head to shadyrays.com and use code DLLS for 35% off. Polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades are rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
As far as your basketball convictions, what are they? Plus, let's continue to discuss when it comes to Cooper Flagg and his positional value, because I have a couple of questions for these guys when it comes to not just Cooper as a player in terms of his versatility. I'll start with you, Tim, on this. Where is the scoring coming from in terms of the shooting? We talked about yesterday some of the inability for the Mavericks to take three-pointers. We know how much the three-pointer is valued in today's NBA. Are you concerned not just about the space, but also the lack of shooting when it comes to what a lineup could look like with Cooper Flagg doing some of the ball handling, but also a very big lineup that he could be in for this team?
Yeah, obviously. I mean, there's not many teams in the modern NBA that play lineups, much less start lineups, that have 2 non-shooters. Anthony Davis is not a three-point shooter. He shoots 22%, over a 5-year sample. That if you just let Anthony Davis at that percentage shoot a three-pointer every possession, you're going to score about 60 points in an NBA game. There is some level of concern to it. Anthony Davis is somebody who can draw double teams. It's different than, pick and roll creation and just, what are we doing over here?
Check your Slack, Tanner.
Yeah. but yeah, it's a scenario where, yes, Dallas needs shooting, and the more that you are using Anthony Davis as a post player, you're setting him up in the high block. That means when he's playing next to a center, there's also going to be a big man inside. Big to big stuff is awesome. It can work at times. It's especially good as we've seen zone defenses really emerge throughout the postseason. Big to big passing can just blow that up. It can just destroy that. There's going to be teams that do not have the size, do not have the physicality to match up with Dallas with what they're trying to do on the inside. There's going to be games where Dallas scores 80 or 90 points in the paint, like literally 70 or 80 points. And it won't matter how much you shoot or how good your shooters are, because you can just bomb from out there. Or you can bomb inside. You don't need this constant parade of 3-point shooting.
Sure.
And eventually, as you continue scoring inside, teams will slide in, and players like PJ Washington are going to be taking open corner threes. Like this is absolutely something that's going to happen. But you will run into teams that are as large as you, that are defensively able to suffocate and snuff out just primary actions. There are going to be people who bother Anthony Davis in the high post. They're going to, have him settling instead of, anytime in those situations where he is beating his man off the dribble, he's getting to the rim, he's getting into the paint. That's fantastic. But there's going to be games where that settles into more of a, parade and procession of 18-footers. And, a huge part of the modern NBA at this point is not just the spot up three, but it's the self-created three. That's how you set up the yo-yo, the yin-yang of a lead guard who can penetrate and get into the lane and get paint touches and get shots for others, is that you have to have some fear in their ability to pull up, step back, just create for themselves off the dribble. And So that's why I think increasing, like that's why we've said for months now. I think it's really important that Dallas has, spins and prioritizes this replacement point guard more than just a minimum name, because it's so important to make the offense tick, is to have those threats all across the court.
Bobby, do you have any concerns when it comes to the spacing issues offensively?
Yes. I actually, during the last wonderful ad read from our guy Tim, I was looking up LeBron highlights. This is from 2006, so not his rookie year. This was LeBron's, his third year or fourth year in the league, and this is what LeBron was driving into. So if you're just listening on audio on Spotify or iTunes, first off, shout out to you. But LeBron is in a Cavs uniform. He's got the ball at the free throw line. There are 3 defenders around him, and there are 2 bigs at the rim in between him and his own teammates. They've got a teammate. He's got a teammate in the dunker spot. He's got a teammate right under the basket, and then he's got a teammate in the corner spotting up for 3. Now, LeBron was able to score here because he's an absolute Chad. He could also make this kick-out pass potentially, but, I mean, there's a lot of limbs in his face, and he just didn't do it. Now, I'm not saying that teams are as extreme now with their spacing as they were 20 years ago, but defenses are starting to just say, you know what, we'll just give up the 3. Like, we're not going to give you a layup. A lot of the best defenses will swarm you in the lane. Watch the way the Thunder play. Watch the way that the Celtics played against the Mavs last year in the finals.
Watch the way Dallas played in the finals run, and especially the conference finals run.
Yeah, and
that's
so
how they played it.
What I'm trying to do is remove, and like, I understand there are a lot of people in the chat saying he's a point forward. Well, like, you're not a point forward if there are a lot of non-shooters around you that are playing forward. I don't even think about it as in terms of positions. I think about it in terms of shooting and shooters and non-shooters, dribblers and non-dribblers. The Mavs will, if they're going to play Flagg at the 2, and J-Kid seems like the kind of guy that still thinks positions are a thing, but even if he doesn't, if the Mavs are playing PJ, AD, and either Gafford or Lively, take your pick, that's 3 guys that the defense doesn't care if they shoot the ball anywhere outside of like 5 feet. They just don't really care that much, and none of them are breaking their man down off the dribble consistently. So that's 3 pretty limited, even though Anthony Davis is one of the best players of our generation. If he's 10 feet away from the basket, he is kind of a limited offensive player because he's not attracting a lot of attention. And so if you're trying to get Cooper Flagg going downhill, or any player on the team going downhill, that is what they're going to be running into all the time. And I don't expect Cooper Flagg to be LeBron James when he's 18. Someone else in the chat said, well, what about Scottie Pippen? He ran point for the Bulls. Well, the Bulls ran the triangle, which you can't really run anymore, but also by the time Scottie was doing that, he was 4 or 5 years into the league and playing alongside Michael Jordan. And Pippen played 3-4 years in college. So by the time he's doing that, he's 25, 26. Cooper Flagg is 18. Like, there's just a lot of, and the thing is, the Mavs have to be good right now. It's not there's no 7 years. Like, let's see if he can figure it. No, like, you got to win the championship right now. That's what the whole point of this is. So I want to eliminate situations like that screenshot. I want to eliminate situations where one of the youngest players, if not the youngest player, is he the youngest player in the league? He might be, because he skipped a year.
Yeah, he might end up
a
being,
top 5 youngest player in the league.
There's a couple other players very close to him. I can't remember which direction.
Like, I don't want him having to solve Kyrie level problems every night. Facing that level of attention because of the other players on the floor. I want other players on the floor to space it out to make his jobs easier. Because if he has less difficult decisions to make, fewer of them every night, he's going to be a badass right away. He'll be good either way, but like, I don't want him to be mentally and physically exhausted like Ant, who's huffing oxygen game 1 of the conference finals because the Mavs are double teaming his ass all over the floor and he has no answers. His team loses in 5 games. That's the conference finals. I don't even think the Mavs would get there if they don't have a more flexible, versatile, dangerous offense.
If you gave Paul George the keys to an NBA offense, 80 possessions, 60 possessions, you're the main guy. You got to go create. Kind of. We saw moments of him being the lead guy.
He's a great player.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to think. Like, being a 6'8" guy, I think Cooper certainly has a chance. Maybe already is a better passer than Paul George. Better is harsh. I mean, obviously Paul George is deep into his career, and yes, he had a bad season. But think of Paul George from a couple of years ago. That's a tall guy, has a very similar frame to Cooper Flagg. He can dribble, he can pass, he can shoot. These are all things that also describe Cooper Flagg. It does not mean that Paul George is a point forward, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different skill set. I mean, some of this is if you are coming in here, if you're going to be the main creator for a team, if Dallas is being like, okay, well, we don't, you're our 2 guard, and we've got a minimum coming in on to play point guard next to you. We've got Anthony Davis, you're going to get a bunch of touches to him, or maybe the point guard is just, one of the guys who comes down and tosses the ball into him. He does a little post-injury pass. But Cooper, like, you need to be creating advantages. Some of it is just that, the lead guy on an NBA team touches the ball 60, 70, 80 times a game. That wasn't Cooper's role at Duke. He was the best player on the team, but he was also someone that Duke went out of their way to also set up. He was somebody who was setting picks. He was somebody who, was coming off pin downs. He was, on the weak side of the floor. They're running actions for him to get him in a sliver of space, to get him in a situation that is advantageous for him to score. So this is absolutely, so you put him at 2, and it's just the trickle down effect of what it causes on the rest of the lineup, that there is going to be those responsibilities on him.
The most recent example of a really young guy coming in and just like kind of being able to make decisions at a really high level, around here at least, is Luka. Now, Tim wrote this McMahon, not Cato, wrote this article yesterday or something about Rick learning from coaching Luka and applying some of that lessons to Halliburton and all that stuff, and it was pretty interesting. He made the point, okay, first year, he kind of eventually gave Luka the reins, and then the next year, the Mavs set the record for offensive efficiency. It's not that simple. That summer, the Mavs also, during Luka's rookie year, they traded for KP and Tim Hardaway Jr. The following season, KP played the 5 for the most part, especially after Dwight got hurt. KP played the 5. Tim was out there. They also went and got Seth Curry. Dorian became a better shooter. And so the Mavs had around Luka 4 shooters. There were very smart basketball dorks that were saying, like, this is the best offensive spacing of all time. And the Mavs had the best offense ever.
And those dorks, they were Bobby.
No. He was, I was one of them. The GOAT, Jonathan Tjarks, was another one. There was many.
He was bumping into Rick in the hallways of the Mavs HQ, being like, hey.
No. But
hey, Rick, I got some ideas.
The simple fact of having, and, Tim Hardaway Jr. is a good 3-point shooter, but he's not necessarily a threat. Like I've talked about, you got to be able to pass, dribble, shoot. Tim is not really past a threat to pass or to dribble. Seth Curry, certainly not a threat to pass or dribble, but he's a great shooter. Mm-hmm. KP, in those days, really not that big of a threat as a passer or shooter, or as a passer or dribbler, but he could shoot. Dorian Finney-Smith, really kind of the same thing. That Mavs team was pretty stagnant, but they could space the floor so effectively. And so my deeply held basketball conviction is you need shooters, because shooters provide space. Space makes it easier. Space forces defenders to make really tough choices. That Mavs team lost in the playoffs because, first off, KP got hurt. But secondly, they were the best offense of all time was too predictable because they didn't have enough dynamic guys. It was too stagnant. Last year's Mavs team, too stagnant. The one that went to the finals, there wasn't enough motion. But they got to the finals. That Mavs team had the best offense of all time. Like
that's why you went and got Clay.
And it made Luka's life and Kyrie's life a lot easier. I don't want Cooper Flagg as a 18-year-old rookie trying to figure out like everything in his whole life to also have to figure out what it's like to pass through 8 bodies to find a shooter 40 feet away from him. Like I don't want him to ever have to do that. If he can, great. I don't want that to be the thing he has to do.
Basketball convictions. We're going to get to more of those, as Bobby's already laid out his first one. That you need shooters on the floor. What are some more of your basketball convictions? And who wins Game 4 tonight of the NBA Finals? Do the Pacers take a 3-1 series lead, or do the Thunder even it up? We'll discuss it next on the DLLS Mavs podcast.
But first, folks, it's Die Hard time. You scan the QR code beneath me, click the link in the description below, or go to, there's a lot of different links. One of the links on our website will take you to a page where you can sign up to become a Die Hard. When you do, you get a free shirt of your choice. You got more than 40 to choose from. And if you're like, man, I already got one free shirt, I kind of wish I could get more free stuff. Well, do I have a deal for you? The Ball Knower bonus. Activate that bad boy. Choose who you think is going to win Game 4 of the finals. That is tonight, or Game 5, right, of the Stanley Cup final.
Mm-hmm.
That game did indeed end last night in dramatic fashion.
Leon Draisaitl got it done.
If you place an order of at least $25, you activate the Ball Knower bonus and get your prediction right, then you get a gift card worth 100% of your order. So you can just double your order for free and add to your merch collection. You also get a discount on any other gear if you're a diehard. You get a discount on events. You can join the DLS Discord Diehard Lounge, a great place to hang out with 1,500 other diehards and talk ball, talk puck, talk movies, talk wrestling.
You can talk some pro wrestling.
And all sorts of other things. You get to read the website. You got any bangers coming out on the website?
Absolutely.
Totally.
I'm wrapping up a mailbag. Gonna write about how I like the 3-year. We talked about it yesterday, where we talked about the 2 timeline thing, and how I feel like this is a 2 timeline approach because it's not really 2 timelines. It's 1 timeline and then another timeline stacked next to each other, not on top of each other, not competing with each other. Gonna write about that next week.
It'll be interesting. You want to make sure that you're a part of that. You also get your physical diehard card, and
you can hang out in Vegas, November 15th to the 18th.
We're going to Vegas. You don't have to be a diehard to go, but we are going to Vegas. Right. Yeah, just go sign up for that. It's gonna be fun.
Let's finish up here on the DLLS Mavs podcast. Make sure you download and subscribe to it wherever you get your podcasts for free. Just search DLLS Mavs, give it a 5-star rating, and write a review for it while you're there.
Can I quickly add one thing, kind of like tail end of the conversation? I don't necessarily think the Mavs are going to play a lot of pick and roll this year just based on their personnel. They got Jay Triano in here. At least that's reported. I don't know if
that is
we'll
official.
See if Jay Kidd is the coach, whatever. I don't know. But Jay Triano spent the last few years of his career in Sacramento, mostly running the offense, featuring one Domantas Sabonis, and the Kings led the league by 1.5 miles in handoffs. And so with, if you're going to have like a big man at the dunker and then a big man at the elbow, probably AD, that is an opportunity to run some handoffs, which kind of simplifies the decision-making process because you're getting the ball already in an advantageous position. And so we're really only, though, vaulting you toward the rim. You're probably not going to take this handoff and pull up. I mean, Cooper kind of can. Kyrie certainly can. But I would expect, unless the Mavs make big changes fundamentally to their roster construction, I would expect them to probably push for maybe not number 1, but certainly number 2 in handoffs next year. There's a lot of stuff you can run off of that's kind of simple. It's a little predictable, but it at least simplifies the decision-making process for a team that kind of otherwise has a lack of guards.
Sacramento ran so many dribble handoffs. It's almost like a running joke at this point.
We've seen this before. Honestly, what comes to mind is right after Dallas traded for Kyrie. Luka was out. Kyrie hadn't debuted yet, and Josh Green and Jaden Hardy were, that was a motion handoff, flowing offense that just, it could come from anywhere. Obviously, after Kyrie got injured last season, we saw a little bit more of that as well. So yes, this is something that Dallas that Jason Kidd has leaned into before. I do expect that very much to be more what this offense looks like. Still got to have someone to stir the drink, as Jason Kidd likes to say.
And dribble handoffs do lead to a lot of long twos too. And I just, I'm a dork. I don't like those shots.
Yeah, and spacing. It doesn't matter what offense you play. You need spacing. You need shooters.
What are some of your deeply held basketball convictions? Plus, we'll give our predictions for Game 4 of the NBA Finals tonight. I'm going to just throw one right off the bat because it is a conviction of mine that I absolutely cannot stand. Stop fouling three-point shooters. It drives me up a wall. There is no worse play in my mind on the basketball court, not floor or court, whatever, than fouling a three-point shooter. Don't do it, Jaden Hardy. Stop doing it. Deeply held conviction. It's one of the worst plays in basketball is to foul a three-point shooter. Not only are you giving up the 3 points, you might be giving up a 4-point play, which is devastating. Stop doing that. It's one of my deeply held convictions that the fouling a three-point shooter is one of the worst plays in basketball.
I really like the way Nembhard closes out. Have you guys seen this, especially when he's like half a foot off the guy or a foot off the guy? Rather than like sprinting at and through the guy, he jumps. He jumps up. He tries to take space above them. Does this not ring a bell?
Interesting.
Watch this tonight. Nembhard, it's slightly different, but it's less of a this guy's out there and I've got to get to him as fast as I can. He's like, it's kind of like the Luke Cornett contest. Now he's jumping at the guy and he's closer, but it's really stood out to me. I think he's done a good job with that.
214 Silas says a personal conviction there. Sometimes you need a good scuffle to get to the next level. Shout out to Najee.
There's a really good conviction up in the comments a little bit about rookie scale contracts in draft picks and drafting young players. It was up a little ways more. Yeah, they're from Jaden. Jaden says, my conviction is competing teams need high-level contributing draft picks or draft-like contracts in order to compete because of the salary control, e.g. Mathurin, McBride, Kaysen, Chet, J-Dub.
Yeah, a lot of the best teams have nailed picks in the middle of the first round. That's a huge cheat code.
Mm-hmm.
Huge cheat code. I think you should never, ever double team a guy in the post. Ever.
You hate the hell. Yeah,
you should never do that.
Yeah, you don't like that.
Ever. If he is just going to let him score too, I don't care. Like, force him to take a hook shot or a fadeaway or whatever. Like, don't make it easy on him, but don't ever double team a guy in the post.
What if
Everyone
it's
is
2001 Shaq?
He's going to score anyway.
He probably will score.
Increase your chance of fouling him. Yeah, you should never double team a post.
Jermaine O'Neal.
I guess it depends on who else is on the floor for the Pacers because they were scoring like 12 points per game. So maybe you can get away with double teaming him.
What if it's Al Jefferson?
Oh, wow. Okay, now you just keep naming players. Another deeply held conviction of mine, and Bob's going to fight me on this one. Look at me, boys and girls, when I say this. Loud and clear into the microphone. Zone is for cowards. Zone is for cowards. Zone tells me that you're waving the white flag on your ability to guard your man one-on-one. I know strategically some folks like it because you can get teams to be able to, not be able to make threes, whatever the case may be. Zone, for me, Bobby Krilla, is for cowards.
I think that's a real bad take because if you're struggling man on man, what are you supposed to do? Just say, well, I guess we just can't beat you? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Get better.
If you can't beat a zone, get better, LeBron.
Every single NBA team, every single possession of a basketball game functionally runs a zone.
It does these days.
Yeah.
The players are too long, they're too athletic. Like, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, I mean, you go look at, if you took a screenshot of any given possession where the offense, if the offensive team is spaced nominally, you're going to see essentially a 3-2 zone in the paint. Pretty much every single time. I mean, every single
But there's a difference between zoning up weak side and I think KG's talking about like lining up a 2-3 zone.
Straight up 2-3 zone.
I'm just saying, if zone is so cowardly, then why do even man defenses employ it in areas of the court?
Well, again, there's a difference between what you're talking about, what
there
he's
is
talking
a difference.
about.
But I am just saying that I think that if
y'all taking this too deep,
I think that you should stand on your take and you should say man defense should only be guarding your man. If your man is in the corner,
man-to-man.
You should be one step away from him in that corner.
You
should
Craig
not
Ludwig
step into
talking
the
about
paint.
man-to-man.
You should never
Stop
get
with
a
all the
defensive
serious
three.
of the take of the zone, okay? Guard your man one-on-one, sit down, guard your guy, and handle it. If you need everybody else to help protect you because you can't stand and guard your man one-on-one, what are we doing here? Especially when y'all run 2-3 zone
you can
and
trade
pick
it
up
to LA.
games.
That's what happens.
Yeah, no, I agree.
When you run 2-3 zone and pick up games, you're cowardly for that. Don't do that.
Zone and pickup should be illegal.
That's illegal.
Like, your team is done. You're off the floor.
Like, you gotta go.
Get out of here. Other people are waiting. You play zone and pickup, you suck. You play zone in the pros, though, you're based. I do think it's relevant because in the not too distant past, Rick Carlisle coached Mavs teams were playing zone, and there were people that were close to / maybe even on the team that really didn't like that the Mavs played zone because they had that opinion that you do, that it's weak. And my thought was, buddy, have you seen yourself try and play man on man? So it's not. Kevin isn't the only person in the world that feels that way.
Clearly, NBA players feel the same way that I do in some respects.
Some of their circles.
Here's a conviction. If you think of yourself as a finals team, or you want to get to the point that you are a contender to win the NBA championship, your rotation can have one player under 6'5". That's it.
Only one?
One.
Oh,
and
wow.
one is pushing it sometimes.
OKC's whole starting lineup is under 6'5".
6'5" now?
I guess they're all 6'5".
They're all 6'5". 6'5" is the cutoff.
Damn.
You're going down the Becky Hammond line of thinking that you're starting
How tall is Halliburton?
He's like 6'5".
Because Becky Hammond believes in some of that too. Like
maybe 6'4". I can drop it to 6'4" to make sure everybody.
Have a spine. Give me a height.
I'm just saying, there's one player who applies to this for Indiana. It's T.J. McConnell, obviously. And
what about Nimhard? He's not very tall.
He's like 6'4".
No way, dude.
Okay,
By the way,
maybe Nimhard's.
He's 5'8".
No,
he's 6'4".
Damn it! The amount of folks taking my take so seriously is starting to get hilarious. Who's this? Hand?
We're doing a segment on convictions.
I did
not
say it.
jokes.
You sounded very serious.
I did say it quite seriously.
You can't
You're
troll
right.
during the
You're
conviction
right.
segment.
Accountability
If it's a
taken.
conviction, you gotta stand with
Accountability taken.
Shame.
You're right. Shame me. Accountability taken. You're right. Right. I stand corrected.
I'm so serious right now.
I stand corrected.
Ethan wants to know PJ to Hawks for 13. I don't think the Mavs are going to do it because I don't think they're going to pick up another first-round salary slot. At 13.
Is that like a rumor or something?
I don't know. I would
they're
have
just
to
throwing
think
out
about.
a-
I would have to think about it. It really depends on who's there. I'm trying to
Yeah, I think they're just making up trade scenarios.
maybe. I don't know.
Okay, 2 quick questions.
You know, Russell Westbrook doesn't have a middle name.
He doesn't have.
He's just Russell Westbrook.
Random. That's so random. 2 quick questions. Number 1, who wins Game 4 of the NBA Finals? Pacers or Thunder?
I'm gonna go with Thundies.
I'm gonna go Pacers.
Did you just say Thundies? What the hell is
Pacers. Let's go.
Oh, Tanner's got the Pacers in game.
So did Tim.
You got the Pacers.
I just
going
want.
up
I
3
want a
games to
7-game series. I just
I
want
explained my rationale yesterday.
You did.
It's
You think the Thunder are wore out? You think they're exhausted? at
yeah.
this
I
point.
mean, I have to pick. Like I think going into the series, I would have picked Game 4 as a Pacers win, just because the one day between and just specifically the Pacers style. So
okay.
this is their chance to. This is their chance.
Thunder don't win tonight. The series is over. So I'm gonna take the Thunder. The series at 2 games apiece to get this to at least 6 games in this series. Also, by the end of the weekend or early next week, will Kevin Durant be a Rocket, a Spur, or a Miami Heat? Bobby Carella, Spur, Rocket, Miami Heat.
Timberwolf.
I didn't mention Minnesota. I meant to say Timberwolves. You're right. Timberwolf.
Bark. Or
Heat.
rough. I don't know.
I believe they
Mark
howl.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mark that.
Yeah.
Mark that. Thanks. So you're going with the Timberwolves. I'm going with the Timberwolves as well. I think he goes to Minnesota.
San Antonio.
Ooh.
Don't piss me off.
Ooh. What are you sending to
That would piss you off?
Minnesota? What are you sending to Minnesota?
That's not my job.
What are you?
That wasn't the question.
San Antonio. What are you sending to Minnesota? Or I keep saying Minnesota. Damn it. Phoenix.
It's a 3-way trade.
That's right. Maybe that's where I'm going. Through it. What are you sending to Phoenix if you're San Antonio for Kevin Durant?
That's not my job.
Wow, Cato. Way to hedge. Good gracious.
Not number 2.
You're
or
trolling.
Castle,
You're
obviously.
trolling. I'm the only one here being earnest. All
I am
right.
being
What are
honest.
you sending?
We
to
value
Phoenix
authenticity at this show.
if you're San Antonio.
I would need to look at their books. Obviously, it's got to involve probably Barnes and Zach Collins,
Right.
and then
Maybe Devin Vassell. Maybe the 14th pick.
maybe. I mean, I'm probably not going to trade Castle for KD. I'm
Vassell-
not going to
Vassell-
trade certainly.
I
the
think
number 2
Vassell
pick.
is expendable, and
Yeah.
if you're trying to go for it now.
Yeah, if you're getting KD, like KD's just they're different positions, but KD's is a much better version of Devin Vassell. So yeah,
How upset would you be if Kevin Durant landed in a San Antonio Spurs uniform
it'd
alongside?
just be annoying. I don't want ops to get better, especially because the Spurs are one of the few teams that was worse than the Mavs this year. If they get better, then that is not good.
All good? Everybody good? Tan, you got any hot takes in 18 seconds you want to get off?
No, not really.
We love our guy, Tanner.
You got any?
As Tim would say, that's not my job.
You got any?
Oh, wow. Look
got
at
any
you
lies?
riding the fence. Good gracious.
You have any lies to tell? You could fit right in with these 2 goobers.
Hey, yo, wow. Wow.
I'm
Appreciate
backing
it.
away from this.
Okay.
I'm letting them fight it out.
Don't you
Okay,
pick up the
Tanner.
microphone, Cato.
You can't tell me what to do. You're
Like
not
a
Stein's
Stein.
gonna come at him.
Exactly. Stein's going to see this video and get really mad.
He's not. Stein doesn't watch the pod.
That's true. Appreciate it, guy Tanner. Make us look good and sound good as always. Thank you, sir. Scott the Extender Foster is refereeing Game 4 tonight in the NBA Finals. There you go. Shout out to our guy, Bobby Curler, our Mavericks analyst. That is our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato. I'm your host, Kevin Gray. We are DLLS Mavs. We'll talk to you Monday at 12 p.m. right here on DLLS Sports. Zone is for cowards. We'll talk to you next week.
Shut up.
We all silly like the mayor.